Hello, welcome to the next edition of the Sweet List that got a 5-0 or potentially did a decent job in a tournament overall. I got 10 lists for you guys we're going to talk about today. And make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe, hit the bell notification so you alert for future videos. I'm going to be posting something soon about when to expect the first article slash deck guide. So if you want to get input onto what decks I do first in what order, make sure you join the Discord. The link is in the description. All these lists will be in the description as well. So no further ado, let's get into these deck lists. So first on my list is a Golgari zombie list. I got a 5-0. It has Glissa, which is kind of sweet. Champion of the Perished, Coco, so Lord of the Accursed, and Death Baron. So this deck does have a decent amount of zombies in it. Most of the lords are in this list, so I think this list actually could be pretty decent overall. I'm kind of intrigued how this deck actually functions. We have pushes in the sideboard, since we should be able to Sprock, I'm pretty sure, Revolt pretty easily. We also have Tormod's Crypt because we're an aggro deck and we want a free graveyard hate piece. Thoughtseize against combo and like stuff like Lotus Field. We have Abrupt Decay to bring in a little bit more removal that could hit enchantments and artifacts, so that's kind of important. Damping Sphere to slow down Lotus Field. We have 2 Necromenches for combo style decks. Assassin's Trophy. We could bring that in against Mono Green because we could at least get Nick those out of the way, or we could just answer an elf or something else like and feel okay with it, like Plukernos. That's probably a card we really want to get rid of, or a Karn, or a Hiora. So either way, that seems like a very good Magic card. So overall, Ggary Zombies seems like a decent approach if you're a zombie fanatic for Pioneer. Next on my list is Bant Spirits. Normally I don't talk about spirits because I don't think to me it's not as interesting. But when it comes to actually having Bant involved, I'm interested. Coco, we have Shaper Sanctuary. That's what's reason why we're in green. Clearly it was strong enough to be able to put a 5-0. Also, it's interesting that we're playing Cemetery Illuminator. So that is an interesting card in general for her spirits. We have a Apparition, which is actually better in this deck just because of Coco. So we also have the traditional cards like Wanderer, Sailor, Rattle Chain. So if you're interested in spirits, this could be a interesting choice just to spice things up a little bit, kind of. Sideboard wise, we have Portable Hole for the aggro matchups, Invasion for the control matchups. We have Shaper Sanctuary against Rakdos midrange. We have Disdainful Stroke against Mono Green control. Rest in Peace versus graveyard based strategies. We have Specialists to help fight through Rakdos midrange, stuff like that, where they kill our threats quite easy. Mayhem Devil could be a problem. That's a nice little way to get some vantage back. Welcome, also good against decks that try to kill our threats. So hopefully we should be able to keep drawing cards and turn through our deck. And then we have another Catilda for the aggressive decks like mono red. So we can gain some life, though lifelink is what's really important there. Also has pro vampires, so that's also nice since Blood Tithe Harvester is still a very good card in the format. So that is Bant Spirit. Let's get into the next. Next on my list is Aban Elves. This deck is probably going to get better next season, just due to the fact that we have the brand new, not necessarily quote quote brand new, but Cavernous Souls to help this deck fight through control. But it also helps us cast Werewolf Bodyguard, which is the reason to be in white. The removal package for Cord, Coco, pretty good component since it's an elf as well. And of course we have most of the pieces: Sentinel, Elves, 1-drops, Elite, Visionary, and then we have Shaman of the Pack as our win con, and War Master as a win con. We have a 1 of Stalwart as a tutorable target if we need it. 2 of those actually. But sideboard wise, we have 3 Vivians help for grinding matchups. Not sure what Judge's Familiar is for. That's a very interesting auto-include there. Assuming Visionary is something that we could bring in against matchups for respect removal. It's nice to be able to play a card that replenishes itself. Yasharn is good against Rakdos Sacrifice. We have another Bodyguard for removal. Sage to hit artifacts and enchantments. Faith to protect our stuff from a wrath. Jailer is our choice because it's good with Quarter Calling Against graveyard strategy, Selfless Spirit to protect our threat from a wrath as well. We have Magistrate to fight on Avengers in general. We have Mask Vandal because it is a elf, and it also exiles an artifact and enchantment that we can get, of course, with Court of Calling / Collect a Company. That is Aban Elves for Pioneer. Let's get into the next. Next is it Wizards? So we have Storm Chaser Mage, which really is the reason why I'm interested in this deck. I haven't seen that card in a minute. So the fact that it's seen play again kind of is interesting. We have Sleight of Hand from the new set. And, we have kind of this typical stock burn. Wizard's Lightning, Wild Slash, Play with Fire, Lightning Strike. We have Balmore, so Opt and Sleight of Hand. I wonder why we're not playing Consider. What makes Opt better than Consider? I don't know. Let me know down in the comment section. Sideboard-wise, we have Alpine Moons for Lotus Field, so we can just hold off the Lotus Field enough to where we can win. 2 Spell Pierces, protect our threats. Ether Gusts against Mono Green. Firecraft is probably decent against Control, where they might counter our Lightning Strikes and stuff. Skullcrack against life gain-based strategies. Then we have End the Festivities also against Mono Green. Get rid of those pesky elves so that way we can slow them down enough to smash their face in. That is it Wizards. I'm not sure how you can improve this deck. I'm kind of interested. This deck is probably relatively cheap. Most of the money is probably in the mana base, pathways, canals, and steam vents. So that is it Wizards. Let's get into the next. Next on my list is a Orzoff Yorion deck that plays a little bit of enchantment so we can sacrifice them to Beseech the Mirror. We have one of Shieldred. We have Treacherous Blessing. It's a great card to sacrifice. We have Archangel Elspeth, which is an interesting include. Kaya. We have Rite of Oblivion to help sacrifice our blessings. Also, our Demonic Pact. And we have the white card for Portable Hole, Companion, and Inspector. Thoughtseize, of course, you're in a black deck, you got to play it. A couple Duresses, which is kind of interesting that we're playing 2 main, 2 sides. So outside of that, we have a decent mana base. Field of Ruins for the quote-unquote Lotus Field matchup. You can get rid of the stage. Also, you could fight through mono green, blowing up that Nykthos, slow them down. We have Trial to help also slow them down on turn 2. Sideboard-wise, we have Duress for the combo and control matchups. Path to Peril for the aggro matchups. Rest in Peace for the graveyard decks like Is It Phoenix. We have Damping Sphere to help slow down Lotus Field. We have Cabal. Also, I'm pretty sure that's pretty good against Lotus Field. We have it in the end, quote unquote, probably to get rid of a Shieldred, stuff like that, where they have a really good win con for a creature. Then we have Ritual Sut for aggro. That is Orzoff Beseech the Mirror deck for Pioneer. Let's get into the next. So next on my list is a 5-0 list that was done by Doomwake. He built together a sweet Cauldron list that uses the Bond Warden and Pupil and Aristocrat, Priest, and Berserker. I've seen this deck in action, so I'm pretty sure if you go to his channel, he probably has the gameplay there if you're interested in looking how this deck actually should pilot. Haunted Witness is an interesting include. The odds lift a couple copies seems pretty reasonable. Knight to help tap down, dig through our deck, find more stuff that gives counters. And then we have Thalia's Lieutenant, since everything's a human. So that is a interesting little, flexibility of this deck. Sideboard wise, we have Thoughtseize for the combo / control matchups. Atomic as a way to help fight through. I'm pretty sure that's good against Lotus Field. We have Fatal Push as for aggro matchups. Invasion. If we expect board wipes, it's probably better to do that. Push it out enough. Then we get to hit that, flip it, and protect our threats. Extraction Specialist for the Rakdos mid-range matchups, which is pretty important. That is a very good sweet deck. Like I said, I seen it 5-0. It was pretty fun to watch. So I imagine the deck is pretty fun to pilot. So like I said, if you want to see the gameplay, look for Doomwake's channel. Should probably have the gameplay there. And like I said, all these deck lists will be in the description. Let's get into the next. So next is Orz Off Tokens for Pioneer. This is the hidden stockpile list. We have a couple of Jadars. I'm not sure why it's It's not showing me all the cards up here. You have Anointed Procession, which is quite interesting. Virtue of Loyalty, which is one of the newer cards. Probably the best Virtue, in my honest opinion. Or Pioneer, Wedding Announcement, Pile On. The End. We have a lot of 4-drop removal. Hopefully this deck doesn't have issues with token generation. The cool part is we have Modrak, also Jadar, and Priest. So that's pretty cool. Kayla's Command to make some tokens. And we have an Invasion of Tolfamir. And looks like the rest of it is just lands. So I kind of want to know how this deck actually pilots. How fast can this deck get tokens? Is it only until turn 2 or turn 3 when a wedding announcement happens? I don't know. We'll see how. I'm intrigued to see how this deck pilots. If you want me to see me play this list, let me know down in the comment section. Sideboard. You have Rest in Peace for graveyard strategies, Invasion to help fight through combo, and also Rafts. We have Ashiok for graveyard hate, March for a little bit of removal, catch-all removal. Necromentia as a way to fight through combo decks. Remembrance makes a token, also helps rewards us if they wrath their boards. Extinction Event for mono green and aggro decks. The End for mid-range and decks that have a really good one-up threat to win the game, like Niv or Omnath. We have a Thought Distortion to hit on the control matchup. That is Orz Off Tokens. Keep in mind, I quickly did not see it. Westvale Abbey's in this list, so you know it's got to be a sweet deck. Let's get into the next. So next on my list is a deck that's been around for a while. It's a hit and miss style deck. It is Grinning Ignis combo. So it is typically difficult to pilot online because the repetitive nature of it. You can't fast simulate it, so the match can be done faster. But if your opponent makes you, sit there and finish the combo online, you might go to time. So just keep that in mind if you try to pilot this on MTGO. Of course, we have 8 Elves. We have Innkeeper. We have Ignis as a way to gain infinite life with Innkeeper. We have a Resin Reef to also dig infinite cards. Monument as a way to decrease the cost of our Grinning Ignis to make it work with Defiler of Instinct. We also have a Burgee. So, pretty combo centric. We have a 1 of Runaway Steamkin to help facilitate combo turns. We also have a Valet, which is our primary win con. Sideboard, we have 3 Rending Volleys for the mono white and the blue spirit matchup. Safekeeping against Rakdos midrange. We have a Braid for a little bit extra removal. We could bring it in against mono green to get rid of the elves on the opposing side. Tyvar Stand, also, like I said, safekeeping is good against heavy removal decks. We have Test of Talents to fight through stuff like Sultai Ultimatum, Lotus Field, stuff like that, where just getting the ultimatum might reduce them to not be able to win the game. We also have Thrillback, which is an interesting dino that is graveyard hate and life gain and artifact and enchantment hate all wrapped into one. It's a pretty good card overall. I like it. I play it mainboard in my dinosaur decks. We have Outpost Siege as a way for the grinding matchups. Prower as a graveyard hate piece strategy that is a decent sized threat, but it doesn't really work with Risen Reef, so I'm kind of intrigued how that actually works out. But we do have Evolution to help dig for our pieces that we want, like Instinct. So that is a Burning Ignis combo for Pioneer. Let's get into the next. Next on my list is a deck that's really taken off in Pioneer. That is Boros Heroic. I like this deck. I played it, and it was very complicated lines. It keeps you intrigued in each and every game, unlike traditional aggro decks in the format, where the thought process is just play the next best threat, attack, sideways, play, threat, sideways. So this one, there is some strategic lines you got to do, and what order you cast certain spells, especially if Illuminator, you got to make sure that doesn't die by your rage. So keep that in mind. This deck is quite fun to pilot. I want to also name this deck because this is one of the decks that I'm going to be doing a deck guide on. My list is probably going to be, actually, it might be pretty close to this list, except I'm not playing the Escape. So overall, I thought this deck was pretty awesome overall. Sideboard wise, we have Flower Stone. It's for one a pump spell if it's not relevant to remove an elf against mono green. We have Escape against Rakdos mid-range matchups. We have Rending Volley as a way to fight through mono blue and white. Evil to fight through Shieldreds. Showdown and Skulls against Rakdos mid-range. We have Rest in Peace for the Graveyard Hate. Vanguard we could bring in also against heavy removal decks, so that we could pay for life, keep it around, and keep getting that beats going. So that is Boros Heroic for Pioneer. Let's get into the next. So next and last on my list is Golgari Midrange. We're playing a couple copies of Oathworn, which is kind of an interesting card. Glissa is one of my favorite cards in midrange. Misery Shadow, we have Dread Knight, we have Trespasser Kalitoth, which is a card that kind of gotten taken out of most lists, but we're playing two of over one Shieldred. So I'm not sure if that's actually correct. It sounds like you should be two Shieldreds and one Kalitoth, but we have a Rider for a little bit of removal, Liliana for disruption, and also is pretty good against control. Thoughtseize with duress, abrupt decay, and push for removal. So this deck has it's very low on the curve. So I think we top out at 4 mana. So that's pretty good, I think, for a mid-range deck. Sideboard wise, we have Thirst for a little bit of the aggro matchups. Duress for the control/combo list. We have Terra Sunder to help fight through things that need to be exiled, like the Worm from Is It Creativity. Also is good against artifacts and enchantments, like against Parhelion, right? You exile that thing and they never can have it back. Mehut Massacre is our quote-unquote Wrath choice. Long Extinction Event, which is also good against aggro as well as mono green. We have Ren and Realm Breaker against the grindy matchups. We have also Nissa for those same kinds of matchups. And then we have Hearse for Graveyard Hate as well. So if you're facing something like Is It Phoenix, should be able to fight through that. That is the 10 list that I have for you guys today. Let me know down in the comment section what decks you guys like the most out of these. I thought overall each deck has an interesting concept. They attack from different angles. I feel like this is probably one of the best mix match 10 lists I've done in a while. So I'm excited that we got to go down memory lane, or whatever you want to call it, and see these sweet decks that got 5-0. And I think each one of these lists, I would recommend trying them out if they're your playstyle. And until next time, hopefully you guys have a great rest of your day. Talk to you soon.